This is the third of our series of videos in which we are going to disassemble the pistol still further and illustrate its mode of operation. We'll start with it where we left off with it field stripped so that we can see the internals of this. The first step is to remove the grips on both sides, and that's done by removing the two screws on each side. Careful, don't strip the screws. They easily are removed. We've now got the grips off, and it's to be noted that the two grip screws, the top grip screw is shorter than the bottom grip screw, and you got to remember that when you put them back together. Alright, now we see the gun's field stripped, and we've got it's open. We can see how it works. The safety, as you can see, locks the trigger. If it's engaged, the trigger can't move. The safety can be removed easily by simply unscrewing the mounting screw. There's a spring and a follower that fits into two detents to hold the safety either on or off in the fire position. And if you take the screw out and remove the safety, you need to be careful that this little spring and follower don't fly out and get lost. Another point is that under normal usage, if you fire the gun often, this safety screw may tend to work loose. So it's wise to make sure that it's, as you can see right now, it's a little bit loose. I'm going to retighten it right here as we stand here to make sure that it stays tight. There, okay. Now, you can take the safety out or not. It doesn't affect the rest of the disassembly. We'll leave it in for now. Now, we can see how the grip, if we look here in the back of the gun, we can see the grip safety, and this bar moves back and forth. That's the sear that would have caught the end of the striker, and when it was cocked, it would have caught right there. And the whole idea to fire it is the sear has to rotate down. Well, as you can see with the grip safety there, the sear can't move down. If, however, the grip safety is pressed in, then the sear can drop all the way. The trigger pushes the sear. The trigger pushes the trigger bar, and the trigger bar slides, as you can see, to the rear. The sear and the magazine safety are one assembly, and you can see that the end of the magazine safety rides on the top of the trigger bar so that it would be pushed to the rear by the trigger bar. But since we don't have a magazine in here, if you look at the top of the magazine safety, when we pull the trigger, the top of the magazine safely simply pivots inward into the magazine well, and nothing moved back here at the sear. If, however, we put the magazine into the place, now we see the trigger bar below the magazine safety. Magazine safety is engaged right here on this notch. The top of it is actually up against the magazine. So now, if we depress the grip safety to clear the sear, and if we now pull the trigger, we can see the magazine safety now pivots about its upper end, and we can see that sear drops down, which would release the striker and fire the pistol. The trigger bar is also the disconnector. The top part of the trigger bar, as you can see, protrudes a little bit above the slot for the slide, and when the slide recoils, there's a notch in the top of the slide, as we can show you here, that allows that to be fully raised. But as the slide recoils to the rear, it now with the gun fires, and because the trigger bar was pushed back, the sear was rotated, and now the recoil, the slide will recoil and push down on the trigger bar. I'll see if I can do that by hand and show you the operation. If it goes down, it released, it pushed it down so that the magazine safety is free to spring back, letting the sear rise again. That prevents multiple firing. The final video of this series covers the remaining disassembly operations for this pistol.